Hi, this is AJ Hogue again, one of the teachers of Learn Real English. And I have another free video lesson for you today. Not really a lesson, but a webinar. Webinar is a new word. It comes from web, which is the internet, the web or the internet, and seminar. A seminar is a class. So when we put the two words together, webinar is an internet class. So this is a little internet speech or class for you about the topic today of repetition. Repetition. Of course, repetition is the act of repeating something, doing something many, many, many times. And repetition is extremely important. In any skill that you want to master, that you want to be great at it, you must have a lot of repetition. Now, we know this, for example, when we think of sports. Think of basketball. To be a great basketball player, like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, you got to shoot basketballs again and again and again and again, every day, hundreds of times, every single day for months and years and years. And that's how these players become great basketball players, by practicing their basic skills thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of times, maybe millions of times. It's the same in golf. Tiger Woods or any other golfer that you like, they have practiced their basic swing thousands and thousands and thousands of times. Perhaps 1,000 times a day for some of them. Every single day for months and months and years and years. So repetition is so important. Repetition is also important with English. For example, research shows that when you learn a new word, when you hear a new English word, for example, that for you to learn the word completely, remember it and know the meaning, and be able to use it, you must hear that word and understand it at least 30 times. 30 is usually the minimum. So you have a new English word or phrase, you hear it the first time, you kind of understand it, but you're going to forget it, usually. The second time, again, you'll probably forget it. You might remember it a little better. Third, 28th, 29th, and then around 30 times, you finally will really remember it. And it might even take more repetition until you can use it, and maybe even more repetition for you to use it easily, quickly, and automatically. So you got to hear that phrase again and again and again and again, or hear that new word again and again, or hear that grammar again and again and again and again. So, we all know this, right? The problem is, in school, you try to do repetition in a really ineffective, boring way. It doesn't work, which I know how you do it because I did it myself in school. You have a list, you have a notebook, let's say, with a new word. And then you have the meaning, maybe in English or maybe in your language. And then you just sort of try to review it. Maybe you have flashcards, or you just try to repeat it. Da, 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 da. You do it again, 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 and again. Well, when you try to repeat in that way, it takes much longer than 30 times usually. And the reason is, there's no real purpose to that. You just have a word, and then you have another word, and you're trying to, oh, this means that, this means that. You know, casa means house in Spanish. Casa means house. Casa means house. And you're saying it to yourself again and again. And that doesn't really, help your brain remember very well. You quickly forget when you're trying to remember something that way. Just looking at a list and saying, casa means house, casa means house, casa means house, casa means house. You repeat, 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 and then the next day, you forget it again. So, your brain actually prefers or wants a different way of repeating. A way that is interesting to your brain. See, what happens is, your brain remembers things that are interesting, or different, or a little strange, and it does not remember things that are just boring and normal so easily. It's harder for your brain to remember something boring than it is to remember something interesting. And so what we do at Learn Real English, We want you to repeat a lot. It's necessary. It's absolutely necessary. There's no way to avoid repeating. So you just have to accept that. You have to know it. So you want your repetition, you want your repeating to be interesting. You also want to repeat as short a time as possible, as little as possible, to get the same result. Right? It's better to repeat 30 times and remember it than repeat 5,000 times to remember it. It's faster, and then you can keep learning more stuff. So here's how we help you at Learn Real English to remember. We create stories. We have interesting conversations that are about interesting topics, real topics, and they're interesting for a reason. We don't want them to be boring, because we know if they're boring, you won't remember them as well. You'll forget the vocabulary faster. You'll forget the grammar faster if it's boring and normal. For example, in most textbooks, they have very boring conversations. Hello, how are you? I'm fine. And you? Oh, makes me want to sleep, right? It's terrible. And do you really want to repeat that conversation, that audio, 50 times, listening to it every day for 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Probably not. It's too boring. You just go to sleep. Oh, too boring. There's nothing interesting for your brain. So what we do, we always choose interesting topics for our conversations. Now, we don't plan our conversations. They're natural. But we do try to talk to interesting people about interesting things. We talk about travel. We talk about adventures. We talk about interesting things that happened in our lives. Something that's a little different or strange or funny or interesting. Because we know that will help your brain remember the vocabulary faster. We know that will help your brain remember the grammar faster. But that's not all we do. We also create other lessons to help you remember even better. For example, in our new Advanced Conversation Club, which is coming soon, coming in September, not open yet, but opening soon in September. In our new Conversation Club lessons, you will get a mini story lesson every month, a new one from us every month. These are the most powerful lessons we have, these mini story lessons. And we use crazy, strange stories to teach you grammar. And also vocabulary, but especially grammar. And not written grammar for writing a paper, but real speaking grammar. Real spoken grammar. And we use these crazy, strange stories because we know you will remember them much faster. You will learn the grammar much, much, much faster when the story is crazy and strange and a little funny or something like that. If it's a normal story, if it's not crazy and strange, you won't remember it so fast. You also will forget the grammar faster. So we don't want that. That's why we choose these crazy, strange stories. Then, in these same lessons, these mini story lessons, we also ask all these questions. Questions. Now we have many reasons for asking the questions, but one reason we ask the questions is to repeat the grammar again and again and again. We want you in 20 minutes or 30 minutes to hear that grammar as much as possible. So if we're trying to help you use the past tense better, more automatically, we will ask questions in the past tense again and again and again and again and again and again, and you will answer them again and again and again very fast. And you will get so much fantastic repetition of the past tense, or of the future, or of the present perfect, or whatever grammar we are trying to help you with. And actually, in most stories, we're doing more than one grammar point. We're doing several. But the point is that by doing all this with these interesting conversations, these interesting stories, lots of questions to repeat, we help your brain remember everything much faster and much better. So I know you'll enjoy our new Advanced Conversation Club. I hope you're having a great day. We'll send you more information about that soon. Hope you enjoyed this video. Bye-bye.